Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Real CFO Podcast. Glad you're joining us. We got a real great show today. We've joined with Dave Whichard, and Dave is in the insurance business, but it's much more than that. So we're excited to kind of explore where he was, where he's been, how he's had the success that he has, and what has kind of spurned from that success into some other endeavors that he's got going. So welcome to the show, Dave.
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me on. It's great to connect with you through Arte and get to meet any of the Arte members. It's always an awesome treat for sure.
Yeah, no, I know, and I need to connect with more because most of the folks in Arte, the majority, there's probably some bad apples, but for the majority are hard workers that care for people and really trying to do the right thing. So it's great to connect with you as well. But Dave, let's start out with just kind of your story, man. You were in the insurance business. We were talking earlier, you had some successes, but let's start. Where did it all start for you to kind of get into the insurance, your passion for it, and not only in business, but life? Tell us about you.
Yeah, I mean, at a young age, I was married young. My wife and I have 4 daughters now. They're all married, 6 grandkids. But I was started young. I was up in the D.C. area. I was in the cell phone industry for a while, pagers and different things of that nature. Being an athlete growing up, 4-sport letterman, all those things, I just felt like sales was something I wanted to get into. And so I did some medical sales devices and things of that nature. Did some outside sales there and cellular. But at 27 years old, I realized that through some network marketing and different things that I'd learned, I felt residual was what I was looking for. So I wanted to build something that would pay for a legacy, for family, those type of things. Also wanted to feel like I made a difference in the world, in people's lives. And I felt insurance was that place I could do that. That was a company I did door to door, kind of made a name for myself in that industry a little bit because, there's records. I'm going to go after them. If there's, if they told me to do, back then it was 10 calls a day, I was doing 20, I kind of moved up really quick. I wanted to get to 6-figure income. That was a long time ago. 6 figures doesn't pay the bills these days, obviously. But, and then I moved from that company to a different company. The reason I left was some morals really, and how they treated, because again, it was God for me first and then family. And then some things didn't go right there. So I kind of had that foot out the door, but my old boss was moving to a different company. He called me, wanted me to start that up here in Virginia. I was down in Georgia at the time in Athens and moved up here. So anyway, got there, worked there about 19 years. It was door to door. We sold accident, cancer. We weren't in the life business, just the supplemental side. Did that for 19 years. I was an agency, built it up. And then in 2019, again, not being fully fulfilled, but also, the opportunity for my people. I started looking around and found this company, Family First Life. They were doing life insurance at a big level. They'll do close to $1 billion this year. And so in that space, there's them and then everybody else, because I think the next one does 100 million or so. I don't know all the details. I just know that they're huge. I got here, I learned about integrity. We built the company really fast. We went from basically me and a couple guys doing probably 40K, which I probably did 35. I tell the story a lot, but 8 months later, we're doing $1 million a month. So we grew as fast as anybody's ever done it, I think, in that period, in that space. And of course, we've had other people with Family First Life build amazing businesses, but we're certainly blessed. So I hope that gives you what you're looking for. But I just love to serve people. So that's what wakes me up every day, is to try to impact people's lives.
Yeah, that's what I know. We were talking, that's kind of the biggest impact. You want to impact others, but to do what you did, with a great career and everything, and then transition into something else and to grow and accelerate that fast, it's more than just, what you're selling. There has to be something more to it, the heart, the passion. What do you attribute, that success to, that quick ramp up, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, you got to have the right system. I think you got to have the right vehicle, to do that. I've always been a hard worker. I've always believed if one person could do something, I could do it. Again, I listened to people that had already worked here. I didn't bring an ego with me. I'm not, at least I hope that I never come across that way, because I certainly don't want to be. I believe without God's, purpose and drive and the why, we can make all the money in the world, but what are we going to do with it? Right. So I think the drive really became my family. It still is to this day. I think about my grandchildren probably more than my kids as much now because they're little, and that drives me to, not depend on my family, but also on my kids, but also to make sure that legacy continues on. So I work really hard. That's what gets me up. But it's really, years ago, I thought I was going to be called to ministry. That didn't go, but I believe God's given me that platform where I can pour into people's lives from that perspective. So, as we were talking about earlier, being in Arte, you've got Andy, who I love to death, and he's in Missouri. I grew up in St. Louis for a little bit, so there's that connection. And then, 75 Hard, I've done several times, so that's also that. And then Ed, being in the insurance world and learning about him, I kind of relate to him a little bit more. And I think, his heart to serve people, that's kind of how I'm built. It's just, that's what wakes me up. I mean, I say that to my guys every day. It doesn't change. I am who you see. I'm that person where I'm going to give you all I got with my heart. Sometimes too much. I think if there's anything I got to be is a little bit harder on people, and a little bit more of a tougher coach in some ways. But yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but I'm basically the right platform with the right human being can get anything done. So I get up early. The things Ed talks about, and I'm up at 5 most days, and in the gym by 5:30, and back out by 7, in the office by 8:30, at the latest, that kind of thing. And I work, most time in the office in here between 5 and 7, something like that. Sometimes later, just whatever it takes. But then when I get home, it doesn't end either. You go home, you have your dinner with the wife or whatever, and you do your thing. So it's kind of like those 3 days Ed talks about, similar to that. Mine might be 11. Mine might be 5 to 11, 11 to 5, and then, and then 5 till.
And let's dig into that. I love that concept. I think it'd be something good that, listeners can hear. But I want to dive back into that ramp up from 0 to 8 months to 0 to $1 million, right? And real fast. And then you alluded to some key things. Is one, I think, faith, right? Not only faith in something bigger and higher power than you, but also a faith in yourself to be able to win and be able to, if anybody can do it, I can do it, right? If somebody else can do it, I can do it. It's interesting. And you made a comment, the ministry, I thought was going to call me, but it sounds like it might have, right? And many times we had this conversation at men's group last night at church, is you might not be the greatest orator or whatever it may be in the pulpit at the church, being what they call a preacher, but your actions, your way, your conversations, the way you handle your business and what you do in the world is also part of that bigger faith plan, at least in my world, right? So it's doing the right thing as, Jesus would have done, right? So I think that's huge, a huge part of why you're winning. The other component, consistency, is what I kind of gather from it. You're routine oriented, right? Most days start at 5, you do your thing, and 8:30 you're in the office. You work to generally 5 or 7, depending on what's going on. Then you go home, you do your thing. It's rinse and repeat, right? Is that an accurate?
Yeah. I mean, I think, got to have that schedule. If it's not on the schedule, then it doesn't exist, and so, one thing I can say is consistency is one of those things. I think discipline and consistency. Now, can I always get better? Yeah, there's always areas of my life that I can do better in and create more discipline in, which I'm working on every single day.
Yeah.
I just think that if you're not trying to get better every single day, you're going backwards. I've always believed that. I just work, I work hard, but there's also a purpose behind it. And I think having that schedule keeps me on track. I'm kind of ADD, if you will. I hate to speak that over myself, but I just am. I mean, I got to have that channel. I've got to have that on the calendar. If it's on there, it gets done. So I do that. So I'm disciplined in that way. My consistency is very, like Ed mentioned, laying out clothes. I've done that for years. I don't know if I heard him say that one time, but like literally at home at night, for example, I go home after dinner, laying out my clothes I'm going to wear to the gym. I'm laying out my clothes I'm going to wear to the office. I've got my supplements laid out downstairs when I get down there. I go down, grab my bag, do my drink, go to the gym. Everything's very regimented from that standpoint. So I think that when we don't feel like doing it, we still do it. Andy talks about that. Like, I don't want to get out of bed. I know I'm there. A lot of days.
Yeah, it's part of your subconscious, right? That routine is so dialed in. And that's why I got to attribute. I did 75 hard before I joined Arte. I mean, somebody I was in another group with mentioned this program 75 hard. And I'm like, that sounds exactly what I need. And what it did, I don't know, listeners may not be familiar. It's a 75-day program, no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to be consistent with it. And it's 5 different powerless things that you have to do every day. And I won't go through the list, but you have to do them every day. And it requires you to create routine, systems, process for yourself to be able to complete it. And none of them are hard independently. But together, it's that routine that you have to build to win, right? It's the
kind of challenging at times, but when you go through
but I take one every morning.
But that first,
it's real. I hated it for like the first 60 days, and then it's like, this is what I do now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but that's interesting. I'm going to reflect on that consistency because, I started the year with a goal that I was going to do 2-a-days every day of the year. And that 2-a-days doesn't mean I'm going to crush it in the gym twice a day and max out. It means I'm going to get up with intentionality, go for a ruck for 30 minutes in the morning. Then I'm going to hit the gym or go for a jog or walk or something with my wife in the evening. And the first part of March, I was on point. Then I tore my pec muscle, lifting weights in the gym. I couldn't run. I couldn't put my rucksack on. I couldn't do all this. So I made the excuse and I quit that endeavor. And then my routine was broken and I got very inconsistent. I'd hit the gym or I'd go for a ruck here, but it was not a routine oriented thing. And being in the tax and accounting business, that's a pretty busy time of year, March and April for us. And that led into probably the longest cycle of inconsistency from a routine standpoint that I've had since I did 75 hard the first time. And so I went on vacation last week and I'm like, now's the reset. We reset when we get back home, day one starts again. And I'm not doing 75 hard, but I'm doing my stuff. And I have made commitments 2 months and 3 months out that require me to do daily intentional actions to get there. So consistency and routine are huge for me. And I think anybody that challenges that just hasn't done it, right? Or otherwise they couldn't.
Doing hard stuff's where we grow. That's every day. It's just pushing yourself. Ed's book. I go on and on. You can talk, listen and read their stuff, but power one more. Every time I'm doing, I was talking about that today. I was like, every time I'm doing a rep, did I do enough? Did I count right? I'm going to do one more just in case and make sure it's extra. It's one more minute or it's one more this. And, so there's that. I live the life. I try my best every day to live the life they talk about, the things that we learn in Arte, the things that we learn from those kind of guys, because I know they're successful in what they do and they mean well and all those things. So I have, another thing called Superhuman, which I had neck surgery a year ago. And the day of, I'm walking. Like I literally, before the nurse got there, I'm up and moving around. And she's like, we need to go for your walk. I'm like, what do you mean? I've already done that. That's my mindset. It's not like, how long can I lay here? It's how can I move? And, I remember my wife and I, we were in Florida for a reason. Had to stay there a week. I couldn't fly. Well, guess what? The next day we're walking a half mile. Then we're walking a mile. And then we're doing this. And it's like, I just want to get back, And so once I got the brace off, I was able to, do some things. Anyway, hired a trainer a year ago. I've literally tracked my meals and my food for 380 days or something now, and totally reformed my whole body because I was injured for so long. 14 years of pain. You talked about your thing. It's, recreating those habits. But 75 Hard is such a great program because it does give you those things. I'm always drinking a gallon of water a day because of that. It's with me, and I'm tracking it. Exactly. Yeah, everybody. And that's a simple thing. It's reading. It's all those things matter. So anyway, it's good to see, and that's what I love about this group is it's just guys like you get it too. And you mentioned something about putting something out, and that's what I would say to somebody today is like I did Spartan races, and I'm going to sign up for another one in September because of the injuries. I couldn't do them, but that's something you do. You pick a race, you pick something a little bit farther out.
That's exactly what I did.
There you go.
I was in. I'm like, I got to change. I told my wife I'm an all-in type person, right? If I am going if I'm going in a bad direction, bro, I'm going to go bad. I'm going to go hard that way. But
Yeah.
I need something to point to get me to this good direction. And I signed up. I told her, I said, I'm going to sign up for a triathlon. I've got a place in Branson, Missouri, a condo. And yeah. So I booked it. I booked I rented out most of the time, but I booked that slot that weekend for that race. And I signed up for it on Monday. And Tuesday, I was learning how to swim. I called the guy. I'm like, I can swim, I can hang out in the water, but it's more of a float, have a drink, type approach to swimming. I'm like, I need to learn how to swim. And he's an adult. He competes in adult
that's great.
meets, and he's great. And Tuesday morning at 5 a.m., I was in the gym learning how to kick my legs, literally base level stuff that, like, hey, you have to learn the basics. And so I set that out there. And then I ran into a guy at the gym that day, and he said he signed up for a triathlon just a couple hours away from here on August 23rd. And I said, I'll do it too. So it's those setting something out there. But what it forces you to do is retroactively go back and say, what do I got to do today to make sure I can do that when the day arrives? And I just had the conversation with the team member. He's a young team member. And, I've been a big push of tracking time, not from the standpoint of clock in, clock out. Let me pay you hourly. It's whatever. I want you to track your time for you, right? Because for us all to win, I need you to win.
100%.
I need this person to win. And we win by being fully accountable to ourselves and tracking ourselves. And how productive are we? What's our routine? What's our path? What are we doing every day consistently? Then we can say, here's where I'm at. And I won or lost the day. This is why I won. I'm going to do more of this. If this is why I lost, like me, I'm looking at my time now and saying over the last three months, my time has been focused on doing work that I should have other people doing.
Yeah.
50%, maybe 60% some weeks.
Yes.
I wouldn't know that unless I was tracking it. So now I need to make adjustments, make improvements in the business. So tracking your time isn't about me micromanaging your ass. It's about you getting that commitment and say, we perform at a max level, everybody wins. Otherwise, we don't, So anyway, I kind of got on that soapbox, but
no, you're good. You mentioned the heart, faith, and hustle. It's funny you said that and without knowing, but when I talk about it, because we recruit all kinds of people, obviously, I recruit a lot of athletes now. I've got former Division I football players. I got a guy here, holds a UVA record and all these guys. So I'm kind of focused on getting a lot of we call them business athletes because we got a bunch of them. But when I connect with them, it's, you have the heart to serve, right? I believe this is a good business for you. When we talked about faith, and I say the exact same thing. My faith is God. I don't push on you, but you choose, right? But I believe in that. And then obviously you have faith in yourself. I say the exact same thing you said every single time. And hustles, work hard. I mean, that's why the mantra of that works. And, it kind of fits in most people's lives,
Yeah.
So, yeah, where that came from. Yeah.
No, it's good stuff. So you started a group, Heart, Faith, and Hustle, right? Or podcast.
Yeah, it's so it became a thing over the course of the last couple of years, and then we brand it. We have a brand, so it's a heartfaithandhustle.com. You can get this gear, so it's just, again, kind of fits with everybody, whether they have faith or whether they don't. They have faith in themselves, like you said. So we get people asking about it all the time. So we're like, well, heck, here's some shirts, here's some hats, and so we have that out there. The velocity thing is obviously been big for us, and so we have the V still on there. That logo represents a little bit more than just a V. It was made by somebody and has direct purpose related to our business, our situation. Even it's very emotional, actually. But long story short, my dad died. I saw us take his last breath, literally on a Sunday. And leave it at this. He was killed in different ways. I'll leave it at that. Wasn't his fault. He just went with what he thought was right. So walk out there. I'm upset. They give me a little cup with his heartbeat on it. Like after I'm all mad, and then he gives it to me. And I thought, well, maybe I'll get a tattoo one day. As you see, I have them with faith and different things in my family. Well, anyway, the next day, the guy that was working on this for about a month has no idea, texts me. And we talked about velocity and how it grew, right? We talked about fast and the fastest and all these different things, my faith, all these different things. So he's a faith guy too. So he texts me literally 11 o'clock the next morning. Doesn't know my dad died. Literally says to me, I saw my dad take his last breath. They give me the thing. I walk out. Less than 24 hours later, I get a text. Hey, Dave, here's what I came up with. And he sends me this. He says, the fastest bird in the dive and the kill, the falcon, he thought about. He said, I thought of lightning and I thought of heartbeat. Dude, I'm like, what? Really? And so that's what this symbol means. And so it, represents, it's like I tell my wife sometimes, my dad, I carry him every day. Like this is I don't wear anything else. I wear this. I wear t-shirts. I wear shirts that says velocity. This is what I wear. It's my uniform. And so I literally carry my dad around with me every day of my life. And so
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. But the meaning behind it means a lot to me. So I just think that there's a purpose in this world. And, if we can get that voice out there of these things and people do work hard and they do serve and they have some faith, they can win at whatever they're doing, I believe. So
that's the thing. And again, I keep referring back to the small men's group that we were meeting last night. And it is a group that started 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago, me and another gentleman. It's called Authentic Manhood. It's through our church, but it's a curriculum that's out there. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's,
No, but I like what it sounds like.
Yeah. It's Authentic Manhood. And it's stuff that you go, man, I wish I would have had this when I was 20, when I was first getting married, when I was first doing things. And, that we've gone through the whole series and it's great. And there's young guys, old guys, middle of the age guys. And, but everybody still says, I wish I had that, except for the young guys. It's like, it's our opportunity to drill into these younger guys, what they need to know. And I think that's a problem with, a lot of our society. One is they don't have faith. Yeah. Two, there's no intentionality in anything that they do.
Yeah.
It's me centered. And it's not that they are intentionally focusing inward on them. It's that they don't know any other way. Yeah. Right. So groups like Arate, groups like Authentic Manhood at church, they hit different than actually just walking through the door Sunday morning and sitting in a pew and listening to a preacher preach. They're groups of men, groups of, in Arate, men and women that are intentional, and you're learning lessons and learning to live this way and do things a certain way and live by routine. So I think there's just a need for more of, heart, faith, hustle. If you start in a group building something, that's what people need to hear. But it's the intentionality behind it, just like it is with routine and consistency. Everything can, boils down to a few little key things, right?
Yeah.
Heart, faith, hustle, intentionality, whatever you call it.
Yeah, consistency's in there, all those things, learning from other guys like you, having coaches, having people in your life that are pouring in good stuff to you to help you grow. Those young people, that's what, again, having young kids. And I would tell those young 20-year-olds, what would your 30-year-old self tell you? Like we tell that to our kids all the time. We got a couple that are still not 30. So we can say, but that's the truth. What would we have done? Right. We would have told ourselves different things. And that's what we're trying to help them with. And I think if you find the right ones, they grab onto it. There's a handful out there that we hope more, but there are some of the younger guys that get it and they'll listen, and the other ones, they'll pick it up. The social media world, all that's changed so much. They can go on there, listen to this, listen to that. That's the other thing too. I think it's I love social media if it's used right, but it also, you can get drowned in it too.
You can. I think, if the powers to be behind those machines, right, the algorithm, anarchist, whatever we call them, actually looked at it and put this in front of more and more people, systems, programs, resources to focus on a better life, on the heart for other people, the faith, not only in yourself, God, and humanity, everything would be better, but it gives more insight and opportunity for people to find it with social media, where I think growing up, everybody really became who their father was, good or bad, right? And some of us were blessed with the good. Some of us maybe
Right.
not so good, right? And so I think you're right. So with that, I mean, you have a purpose, a heart, faith, hustle. How can people learn more about that?
Well, they can just, I mean, I'm on Instagram, Dave Whichard, at davewhichard.com. There's at heartfaithandhustle.com. Or it's on Instagram too. We have a page there. And then, but again, it's about, I'm in the insurance business. And so it's a place where they can come, and there's a lot of opportunities out there. However, there's not a lot that have God in the middle of them. And so I'm not afraid to pray on our calls. I'm not afraid to talk about that. I love that positivity that we bring to each other. The back to back, we're going to war together kind of mentality, but we look out for each other. It's a family. To me, I try to treat people that work with me like they're family till they're not. You know what I mean? Because people do leave you, and sometimes the right ones don't come along. My thing is I pray for the right ones to come and the wrong ones to be removed, because I want good people around. I want people that are on the same mission that we are, which is to serve families every day, because that's what we do. We protect families through virtual sales. That's really in the insurance world. So it all kind of works together. I believe this can resonate with any business, right? So that's why we did it. But heartfaithandhustle.com. And then, of course, we have the velocity stuff and all those things. But if someone was looking to get in the insurance business or sales, they can just reach out directly to me at Dave Whichard, either any of the platforms. You can find me. And, again, we have velocityagents.app. I think is another site. We have a couple of velocity sites, and then we have Heart, Faith, and Hustle. So, again, just trying to get the mission out there as best I can to help people, serve them.
Yeah, no, you're doing a great job for the right reasons, I think. So it's good. And guys, I hope you can take some information from this. And if you find yourself not in routine, not being consistent, not happy with where you're at, I'm telling you, do what Dave is saying and what we've been talking about. Get a program. I don't care if it's 75 hard or something else with some accountability, but get a program. I would say do 75 hard. It changed the game for me. Add some consistency and routine to your life, and even prior to that, have faith in not just inward but outward. Faith in a higher power. For me, that's God. Faith in other humans. Don't always react and do the social media flex or whatever it is. And if you have an opportunity to dive in to more content that is positive like this on social, don't be afraid to do so. It'll change your life. So, Dave, man, this was exciting, man. This was good. Good conversation. I think valuable for those that hear it. Any parting words?
No, I mean, you mentioned one other thing. You appreciate you having me on, everyone. Win Zone. So we have Win Zone. So the podcast is Win Zone, the Heart, Faith, and Hustle podcast, right? So the Win Zone is actually a coaching program, smaller scale than obviously Andy and Ed, but at the same time similar, where we bring in a few guys and we're doing that similar. Where me and another guy who's been very successful in business, we're able to spend an hour with them. It's not blown up yet, so it's more personal. However, we kind of do it like they do. I learned it from them. Like it's one on where it's just me, one on him, and then two together. So, we try to do that too. So that's something else we're doing too. So I'm doing what God's called me to do every day. So I think that's what we got to do. We got to wake up and with purpose, intentionality, consistency, all the things that we talked about today. And I think if you do those things, you can win in life. It starts, I think, in the health side, being healthy. In the beginning, as you and I both know, if you can't do something, it's hard, right? So we got to have healthy steps each day to go to work. The money doesn't matter if we can't use it.
Yep.
Great things, right? So
100%. Great stuff. Well, hey guys, that's it for today. We appreciate Dave, and be sure to take a listen to, the full podcast and the episode, but also reach out and follow Dave. He always shares good stuff, and he's full of positivity and good information. He's in the insurance business. We're in the tax business, but we try to utilize that platform whatever we can when we reach people to do more than just, provide the tax, provide the insurance, whatever. It's provide value, provide guidance, because have a heart for everybody, help others. And if you can do that and help other people win, you're going to win. So anyway, we'll see you next time, guys.